22nd, 2003 regular meeting of the Burlington Board of Health to order. Please join me in Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So good evening. I'm Dr. Ed Weiner, Chairman, and with me this evening are board members, Vice Chair David McSweeney, Member Gail Demore, Mary Beth Welch, and Andrea Sheehan could not be with us this evening. Also, our staff, Susan Luminello is our Director of Public Health, Michael Green is our Associate Director of Public Health, our environmental engineer is Christine Mathis, health agent is Marlene Johnson, and our recording secretary is Eric Bergeron. Please note that we are live on and taped by BCAT and available for appropriate comments and questions through this video technology. And thank you for BCAT for what you do for this community, keeping us all aware and so well informed. Thank you, BCAT, as always. Our first will be approval of minutes. I am going to go to April 11th, 2023. We will postpone March 28th. Actually, do I have a motion to postpone March 28th? We do not have a quorum for that.
So moved, Mr.
I
Chair.
have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
April 11th, 2023, regular meeting. Are there any omissions, additions? Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
I have a motion to approve by Ms. Welch.
Second.
Second by Mr. McSweeney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chairman's report. Short one this evening. We've got a long agenda this evening, so I'll be brief. No one needs to know that sunscreen is really important. In addition, it's a tough year this year for mosquitoes, and you may hear again some discussion about Eastern equine encephalitis and West Nile virus. Accordingly, I was asked, should you apply sunscreen or insect repellent first? It's a great question, so off to the internet. Which one should go first? When you need to apply both sunscreen and insect repellent, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, recommends applying sunscreen first, waiting for at least 10 minutes for the sunscreen to get completely absorbed before applying the insect repellent. So for the rest of the summer, lots of sun, and unfortunately, lots of mosquitoes. Now we know. We have no subcommittee reports this evening. Citizens' time. Is there anyone who would like to approach this or speak to this board who is not on the agenda this evening? I see nobody here. Is there anybody online? Ms. Luminello?
There are some people online, but I don't think that they're speaking up. They may be for the application.
Okay, then we are all set. Since we have 3 new staff, we need to make some introductions this evening. I'd like to take our discussions out of order, and can I have a motion to take the introduction of new shared services professionals out of order so they can speak to the town of Burlington?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
As many of you know, this board, in association with the towns of Lexington and Wilmington, have received the Massachusetts Department of Public Health Shared Services grant. Tonight, I would like to introduce 3 new Board of Health professionals. If they would come up. Kathy Dowdy,
Jackie Messina, and I'm going to spread. Taisha, I'm sorry. I've done it again. Taisha Soto. Please, that's so nice that you're here. So we're going to go in order, alphabetical order. Katie, please introduce yourself, give everyone a little bit of your professional background and what you hope to do to support the town of Burlington. Please, go ahead.
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Dowdy, the new epidemiologist with the Shared Services Agreement, working for Burlington, Lexington, and Wilmington. As I'm sure many of you know, epidemiology is the study of how health and disease works in populations. So one of the essential public health services is assessing and monitoring population health status. And as we do this, it's important that we're building and maintaining a good public health system and making decisions based on good data. So the core of my work with the Tri-Ton Coalition, the Shared Services Agreement, focuses a lot on data analysis to make sure that we're doing just that. As for my professional background, it's a little bit unconventional. I actually started my career working in design and in communications, then moving into health communications before pivoting a little bit more to the data side of things. I received my master's in public health, concentrating on epidemiology and biostatistics at Boston University. So these days, I split my time between here and Mass General Hospital, where I work as a research coordinator. A huge part of what really drew me to this position and continues to inspire me is how collaborative and cross-disciplinary local public health is. So I have the opportunity not only to use my education in epidemiology, but also to lean into those communication skills that I learned in my earlier careers, my earlier positions. So technical skills with statistics are one thing, but being able to turn those statistics into programs, into action, and seeing them inform real-world decisions is very rewarding. Some things that we're initially focusing on with the Shared Services Agreement are focusing on substance use and mental health, making sure that our programs are equitable in everything that we do. So looking at which populations might be more vulnerable and making sure that no one is overlooked in our work. And I'm so honored to be working with everyone on the Shared Services team and everyone in the town.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dowdy.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Jackie Messina, please.
Hello, how are you? Get this closer. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jackie Messina. I started my role as public health specialist back in May of this year. Within this role, my responsibilities include providing residents with health-related resources and facilitating public health programs for the Tri-Ton Coalition. I received my bachelor's degree in social work in 2011 from Bridgewater State University. For over a decade, I was employed through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as a licensed social worker for the Department of Children and Families. My prior profession centered on child protection and the challenges faced by many families with substance abuse, mental health disparities, housing insecurities, and others. Through these experiences of working with vulnerable populations, it has provided me with the expertise needed to be successful in this current role. Since starting with the Board of Health, my focus has been largely on establishing partners within the community and working to identify vulnerable populations. My focal interest has been on the complex subject of hoarding disorder and how it pertains to public health. I currently attend a monthly hoarding disorder network meeting. This meeting is a collaboration between several local towns to discuss best case practice, resource in the area, and to provide education and training on this disorder. The goal is to safely keep people in their homes while navigating the disorder. I was also recently trained in hoarding for first responders and plan to provide a brief training to our local first responders about the disorder. There are several other programs that are in the developmental phase. This includes Narcan training for the community, vaping education, and prescription drug education. In regards to myself, I'm a Middleton resident. I have a 2-year-old daughter. I'm very happy to be here and to work with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tahisha Soto. I'll never
Hi, good evening.
Blow that again.
Hi, good evening. My name is Taisha Soto, and I proudly serve as the health inspector for the town of Burlington through the Triton Coalition. And sorry, I'm all over the place. Within the Triton Coalition, I have come to embrace all the differences between all three communities. I've noticed that they all own their own unique charm, however, strive for the same mission, which is to promote health and well-being for all citizens and people involved. I have come to discover that the common goal is the same, even though it's so diverse in each community and it's pretty much all the same purpose. I think it is a bit challenging because all three communities has a different role, but it's pretty easy. Everyone that I've worked with has been very helpful in getting me to get used to their own ways of work. So I'm so sorry I got lost. Part of my mixing words. It's covered each of the community schools. That's one. Sorry. Before here, I had the privilege of working for Lawrence Inspectional Services Department as a code enforcement officer, where I did a range of inspections from housing to pool and food safety. 6 months into my tenure there, I became the enforcement officer, of which I was given the task of enforcing all the regulations and making sure everyone kept up with them, whether it was through a hearing officer, an appeal with a third-party hearing officer, or going to housing court proceedings. Sorry. Sorry. I am truly grateful for this opportunity to join this collaborative mission. I've been given the opportunity to work with a collaborative team of brilliant minds hailing from different backgrounds within the Triton Coalition. This environment allows the exchange of knowledge, fostering an enriching learning experience for myself. I am excited to continue contributing my knowledge and gaining insight and experience from my fellow colleagues to collectively join in the mission to promote health and well-being within the local communities.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very nervous. Talking about
First, I got to congratulate our professional staff for finding and hiring these terrific professionals. So thank you for coming and thank you for being here. I know you're available to the community. People can call the Board of Health office if they'd like to get at you and make an appointment with you, because we have an open office space. So if there's anybody out there who would like an appointment with any of these professionals, call the Board of Health office and we can set up some type of an appointment. And welcome. And anybody on my board would like to say anything?
I would reiterate, welcome. I had a chance to meet a few of you, or a couple of you, and just what an amazing program and grant. And again, this is free to the town, right? This is through a grant, subsidized grant, state grant, correct? I just don't think anybody realizes how lucky we are, the one that we got the grant approval, and then we've hired up some really great professionals to support the community and surrounding communities as well. So awesome job, welcome, and look forward to seeing some of the great things come out of your areas. So.
Anybody else?
Just welcome. Thank you.
For coming. You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to leave, whatever, but we have a long agenda, so thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
So much.
Applications for minor engineering change, 23 4th Ave, Nord Bloom Company. Ms. Mathis, are you going to present these minor engineering change, or?
Sure, I'll give a quick
Thank you.
overview. Norblum is the applicant, and they've applied for a minor engineering change to construct a pickleball courts at an existing park located at the corner of 3rd Ave and 4th Ave. It's a small project, however, it is in the project's within the MCP site known as the Building 28 and 37 MCP site. Board has seen this site a number of times due to the recent developments of Lifetime Fitness and Lifetime Living, the apartment building next to Lifetime Fitness. There are existing monitoring wells on this property for that MCP site, and as such, we looked at 4 LSP opinions in terms of would the infiltration of even a small amount of water have any impact on the existing plume and/or the water treatment plant for that MCP site. And I'll let, you have those LSP opinions, I'll let Mr. Fremont Smith give more detail.
Thank you, Dr. Weiner and members of the board. Thank you, Todd Fremont Smith with Nordblom Company. That was a tough act to follow. Thanks for putting me on after that. With me is Brian Tim with RJOC, civil engineering firm, in case we have any questions. But I wanted to, if I may, just take 4 minutes and update you on what's going on at Northwest Park, and then we'll get to the...
Ask you please dispel the rumor that you're not here to challenge me to a pickleball.
I do not play pickleball, but we'll get to pickleball in a minute. So I did send over some slides about Northwest Park. Northwest Park is a big tax base component of the town, and I know this board cares about supporting businesses as well as protecting the public health. So I just go through a few slides. I think Susan has these. So 3rd Ave is doing great. All the restaurants are back to pre-COVID sales levels. Wegmans has over 30,000 visitors a week. It still remains the center of Northwest Park. Go to the next slide. Sorry. I could have done this myself. The fountain's back on, highly regulated by the town of Burlington, but much enjoyed by the little kids who come here. It's all chlorinated and computer controlled. Next slide. Lifetime Living, as Christine said, is our newest apartment community, 167 units. We'll be doing an open house in September for anyone in the town leadership that's interested in seeing it, but it's going to be a very beautiful building, all steel and concrete construction, no wood, very quiet, very safe building. And we're doing that in conjunction with Lifetime Fitness next door, which is, I'm told, the number 3rd or 4th busiest fitness club in the United States. Really just knocking the socks off it, and over almost 1,000 members from the Burlington community alone in that club. Next slide. Broad Vericel, this is the 270,000 square foot lab GMP building that we're building up at Blue Sky, which was former Network Drive. We're weather tight. The TI work, the tenant improvement work has begun, but because this is big pharma, it's going to take 12 months just to build out the inside of this building and get certified. So they're looking for occupancy in the fall of '24. But that's a very exciting project that we think is going to lead to more life sciences in Burlington when the life sciences market comes back. Next slide. We've been working with the planning board. This is a little bit off the Board of Health, but we promised the planning board back in 2016. I told them I was going to put public art at Northwest Park. So we've finally, working with New England Sculpture Association, started that project, and we bought 2 pieces this year. If you go to the next slide, I know this is way off the radar of the Board of Health, but I just show you this is a frog called, this is I've Been Kissed from Marie Park in Tucson, Arizona. It's a bronze piece which will be installed in front of Twist Bakery. And then the next piece we've purchased is a granite whale from Tom Berger up in Kittery, Maine. This whale is installed in Rockport, so he's going to make another whale for us to put at the fountain.
Oh, cool.
But it'll take him 6 months to make it, so we'll get this in the spring. Sorry, I know this is not
No,
Board of
it's
Health.
cute, it's cute.
So pickleball. So pickleball is all the rage. We literally were asked by the planning board to find locations to put some pickleball courts. The first one, this is at Blue Sky Network Drive. This is installed, and now and we were asked to find a location where some courts could be more public. This is not a good location for public courts because it's not really a public place. We think Northwest Park is a much more public environment. So if you go to the next slide, this is a park that, as this board knows, we built this MDLA designed park at the corner of 4th Ave and 3rd Ave. which was very expensive, cost almost $1 million to build. I know there was a little turmoil about this at the beginning, but it's now open. If you go to, we've recently had it photographed. It's being very well received. If you go to the next slide, Susan, thank you. You could just scroll through. These are some pictures. When you're there, it's very pretty. And it was very high design, high finish. And it's really extended, it's connecting 3rd Ave really to the rest of the park in a way that's very fun and useful. This is a more corporate environment, but we do think there's room here at this park to add 2 pickleball courts. And pickleball courts, Brian did this sketch showing where they're going to go in the park. It's not really a finished area of the park. We've had some trees blowing over in the storms. The pine trees have very shallow roots. The soil at Northwest Park is very sandy, so we've had trees falling over. Fortunately, they've fallen into the park. They haven't fallen into the parking lot, so we're just going to replace that grove of trees with 2 pickleball courts, which in the future could be 1 tennis court. That's the same size as 1 tennis court. So if pickleball ever goes away, we'll have a tennis court. But we think this is a location where 2 pickleball courts can go. And so with this board's permission, in the planning board's permission, we are asking for minor engineering change, and this would happen right away if permitted. So thank you. Sorry about the long story, but I thought it was a good chance to update you on the park's doing very well. All those single-story buildings, because they're flex R&D type buildings, they're full of people who are doing things and making things and coming to work. And so unlike many of our multi-story office environments, the park is full of people, and the tax base there is very stable.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair.
We have questions?
And if I missed it in here, is the park, is it lighted for night?
It is lighted,
So I
yes.
thought- Okay, maybe I missed that in reviewing it. Is it, did I miss this? It's not gated?
It is not gated. It's open to, anyone can walk in there.
It's public?
Yeah,
right?
you should go take a look. We're also building another big commons, we call it, in front of the Lifetime Living apartment facility. So we're building a network of sizable, usable parks throughout Northwest Park.
I have seen some that you showed though, but thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of comments. I love 3rd Ave and hopefully 4th Ave too. I think it's great. I feel like every time I go to Wegmans, I'm there the day the 30,000 people are there.
It's tough to get out.
But it's a pretty successful development, and I think it's a really achievement for Burlington and what you guys did there. I'm totally in favor of this. I think it's awesome, and it fits right in where Burlington's going directionally. I guess my only question is, it doesn't seem like you have, Christine, have any concerns
I don't.
over the plume that's beneath it. I mean, we've put buildings around it, so I'm
Yeah,
pickleball.
it was just due to the location of it.
Sure.
And the fact that there are monitoring wells that are still in use for
Yeah.
that MCP site, just wanted to bring it to the board to
Yeah,
get
no,
an
I'm glad you
update.
did.
Yeah.
I have no concerns with this whatsoever, and you did address a lot in the documents, and thanks for your presentation, too.
Thank you.
Looks great.
I just had a quick question, because I know some of the trees are already falling down, but you're taking down other trees. Would you be adding?
We will be adding, we've added about
Maybe
20
not
trees
there. Okay.
already.
I was
and
just
We'll be
curious.
adding more as well. And the trees we've put in are growing very well, and they're,
Good.
if you drive by or take a walk in that park,
Oh, yeah.
they're sizable trees, and they're more deciduous. They're more, they'll grow much larger over time. They'll be more permanent.
Okay.
And MDLA,
Curious.
the landscape architecture firm on that, I've worked with them many projects. They do very high quality
Beautiful,
design.
yeah.
And their,
I've been down there.
Yeah, definitely. Their landscaping is top notch, so.
Yeah, there are 3 active, I'm sorry, did I? There are 3 active groundwater extraction wells from years and years ago. And are they going to be taken up? Are they going to be left in place, or?
Oh, no, the extraction wells are remaining, and they continue to extract. The water continues to be treated and reinjected. It was monitoring wells on this site that needed to be protected, and they will be.
They're going to pump and treat, continue?
No, the wells on this site are not extraction wells, they're just monitoring wells.
They're just monitoring
Yeah,
wells?
the
Okay.
extraction wells are across the street and down the street a little bit.
And those are not going to be touched?
They won't
at
be
all?
touched, no.
Okay.
And these wells are staying maintained and accessible right now for our project, so.
As requested, required, yeah. There are 13 conditions. Have you seen them both? You have
I
any
have.
issues?
Yes.
Please be
Pretty
aware
standard.
of number 13. So if you get into a mess and you have to change any of these, please let our environmental engineer know. I can't foresee that you would be coming back, but this is just the protection for the community, that if there's something that's going to be highly modified, that you would come back to us.
Understood.
Okay?
Yep.
I have no problem. I've read the LSP report, and I think we all have, that the groundwater contamination is groundwater, very, very deep, and pickleball will not impact.
Maybe it'll help extract it.
impact. With that, if there are any other questions from the staff, board, may I ask for a motion?
So moved?
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Approved.
I have a second, Ms. Demore. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. 400. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have two variances. Leahy Hospital and Medical Center, 29 Mall Road, unattended food establishment. I am going to assume that our health agent will be presenting that, Ms. Marlene
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes, so this evening,
Excuse me,
Timothy,
what is your name, please? Please state your name.
Hello, my name is Timothy Sheehan. I am a representative of Sodexo and the contracted vendor for food and nutrition services for Leahy Hospital Medical Center.
And would you please sign in, print please, so our recording secretary will have the...
so just for the record, I'll read this, I know you've heard it before, just some background on unattended food establishments. So an unattended food establishment is an operation typically located in an office building or restricted break area where access by the general public is somewhat restricted. These operations frequently offer packaged, time temperature controlled for safety foods and non-time temperature control for safety food products that are displayed via refrigeration units, food racks, baskets, and/or countertop display units. Unattended food establishments may also be equipped with microwave ovens or offer automatically dispensed hot and cold beverages. One common characteristic of these operations is that they lack the presence of an on-site person in charge. So, Mr. Sheehan would like to receive Board of Health approval for a variance from 105 CMR 590.003, also Food Code Chapter 2, 101.11, which requires a person in charge be present at the food establishment during all hours of operation. So the same level of protection. The Massachusetts Department of Public Health Food Protection Program provides a guidance document for unattended food establishments, which was prepared by the Conference for Food Protection. This document was provided to the food establishment noted above to establish a written food safety plan for the unattended food establishment. And that was submitted to me. I did review it, and I approved their plan. And by following procedures outlined in their plan, the same level of protection can be achieved. So the board may vote yes to approve the unattended food establishment variance for Leahy Hospital and Medical Center at 29 Burlington Mall Road with the following conditions. 1, this food establishment shall follow their approved written plan for minimum requirements for the unattended food establishment, which is attached. This variance is for the location noted above. Any additional proposed unattended food establishments within the town of Burlington will require a separate written plan and variance. 3, violations of this variance may result in an appearance before the Board of Health and may result in a temporary suspension of the food permit. Continued violations may result in the revocation of the variance by the Board of Health. 4, in the event of an imminent or threat of a health hazard, the Board of Health may suspend the food permit without a prior hearing as outlined in 105 CMR 590.014A. And Leahy Hospital Medical Center at 29 Mall Road, staff shall notify the Burlington Board of Health within 24 hours if there was an imminent health hazard, food tampering, and/or a food injury. Or the board may vote no not to approve the variance.
Any questions? Please.
So this seems to be the wave of the future. This is like the fourth or fifth one we've had in the last couple of months, almost as popular as pickleball. Is this to replace the cafeteria? Like, where is this going in the hospital?
So this will actually go at 29 Mall Road, which is separate from the hospital. It's a training facility.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
used to have a cafeteria on site there. This will go in the dining room of that specific facility.
Yeah, I know it well.
And it will be monitored by security cameras. It will have remote temperature monitoring system and automatic locking doors for all TCS-controlled foods. So if the refrigerator or freezer notes that it's out of temperature for an extended period of time, it will automatically lock and will not unlock until a food service individual comes and basically empties the refrigerator and resets it.
Yeah, pretty cool. Is the staff at the cafeteria responsible for this remote?
So this remote will be monitored by the staff that we currently have at the hospital.
Yeah.
And all of the staff at the hospital have, I believe it's now 16 individuals have the ServSafe food safety manager
awesome.
and allergen training
Yeah.
allergy awareness certificates.
So if there's an issue, or
If there is an issue,
right
one
there on site.
of them will be up there in under 5 minutes.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. No other questions.
Have any?
No, that clarifies.
Okay, just in the past, I abstained, but I don't have to. My wife is no longer. She's retired for 5 years now, I think 4 or 5 years from Leahy, and I don't have any association with Leahy. So do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the variance for Leahy Hospital Medical Center, 29 Mall Road for unattended food establishment.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
400. Thank you very much for coming.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay. Egg Holic, 10 Wall Street, East External Grease Interceptor.
Until I saw the menu.
The menu looks fantastic, I know.
Hello, my name is Hetul and I'm a manager for the Egg
Please sign in and print, please. And while you're doing that, Ms. Johnson, are you going to be presenting it?
Yes, yes. So Mr. Patel is here representing his business. It's a chain. This is the first one in Massachusetts, and it's going over at 10 Wall Street, and they serve lunch and dinner. The menu's enclosed. I'm sure you took a look at that. And Mr. Patel is seeking a variance from the grease interceptor regulations, which section 4 Part A, installation of an external grease interceptor. The variance application is attached, and the landlord was also notified of the variance. So action by the Board of Health, vote yes to approve the variance from section 4 Part A and allow the new food establishment to operate without installing an external grease interceptor with the following condition. The food service establishment operator and property owner both understand that this variance may be subject to revocation, suspension, or expiration as determined by the Board of Health. A variance under these regulations may be revoked, modified, or suspended only after the food service establishment has been notified in writing and given an opportunity to be heard at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Health. Reasons for revocation, modification, or suspension of variance include, but are not limited to, a determination that food service establishment is discharging grease in quantities sufficient to cause sanitary sewer line blockages or increased maintenance of sewer lines. Or the board may vote no not to approve the variance.
Anybody would like to ask questions or?
Wait, 10 Wall Street, is that, what was in there? I know Wall Street is, but what was
The
the?
subway, there was a subway.
Yeah.
Subway there.
Oh, okay.
So I have a couple questions. Would you like?
No, go ahead.
First, you understand why you need a grease separator, and especially the area is very sensitive, and second, you will have a grease trap log. I just want to urge you to keep that grease trap log up to date, because if you do not, and you have an inspection, I can tell you that our health agent, who is in charge of our inspectional services, will be very upset, and you do not want to, you do not want to have an out-of-date grease trap log, because it's so important that we monitor. How often are you going to clean that?
Dr. Weiner?
Yes.
I just want to make sure he understands. So what he's referring to is your 3-compartment sink will have a grease interceptor, grease trap. So Dr. Weiner is referring to that. So our regulations that you reviewed require you to have a log that is recorded when that is serviced.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what he's referring to.
And that service includes cleaning, correct?
It certainly does, yes.
So I would have a good schedule, and to make sure that that's clean, because you don't want Ms. Johnson's wrath. We have approved many of these. They all work very well because we have very responsible and very professional managers. So, and I'm assuming that and I will say, the menu looks beautiful. Before we vote, when are you going to open? There's a lot of people on television. When are you going to be open?
So we are in the process on the construction side. Everything is on the lineup, just waiting for the construction team to go inside and do their work. And everything is all set. So
Awesome. Looks great.
thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Demore, second by?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming. We wish you well. Welcome to Burlington.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
1 second, I just have to grab some documents here that I happened to put on the ground here by accident. There we are. All right. We have 2 hearings. I'm going to do the first hearing, and we have to open the hearing by law now. Do I have a motion to open the hearing, 111 Middlesex Turnpike Status Report of Nuisance Condition, MGL 11 and 111 and 122? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. McSweeney, second by Ms. Welch. All in favor? Aye. 4-0. Now we can open the hearing. Why don't we just, is there anybody from the professional staff want to say anything first?
Just that this is a continuation. I'm sure you all know they were here a couple of months ago to report on the status of the requirement to clean out the basin. They're back to, at the request of the board, to give an update on that.
And I can say that this has been the most wet year in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I think I heard that on the radio or on television today. So please update us on what looks like the new Great Lake in Burlington.
Sure.
Really is a lot of water there.
Yeah, no, for the record, Attorney Mark Vaughn with Reamer Bronstein here tonight representing Brixmore, the property owner. I think you remember Mary Hollebeek, who is with Brixmore Property Management Director, and then Brian Dundon, who's with R.J. O'Connell. I think you remember from hearing maybe a year or so ago. I think we have Mark Newman as well that's participating remotely, but Mark joined the meeting back in June remotely also, as some of you may remember. But I appreciate the opportunity to be here, just to provide you an update. So I think the last discussion, obviously, we got into some detail about what happened in terms of why it was that we couldn't do the cleaning in the springtime when we originally thought the permits would be in place from the state on that. We did provide information to Susan about when those permits were applied for and when they were issued to help document that. And again, just to reiterate, it's actually 2 separate permits that we need to get from Mass Natural Heritage. One is a 5-year permit, which had expired back in December of '22. So we had to apply and renew that permit for another 5-year period. That was done right after the calendar year started in 2023. And then there was the fish relocation permit itself that we needed to apply for thereafter, and that was applied for. And by the time we got those permits, it was late into April, which wasn't going to work in terms of the May 1 breeding season. So we did provide those dates and that information just to document that with the board. But suffice it to say that the cleaning has been lined up. It's going to be on September 11th, as I understand it. So the contract has been signed, and it's all scheduled to be done at that time. And we're hoping that it is going to make a meaningful difference. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate your comments about the summer that we've had, which certainly doesn't help matters in terms of the situation, but we do feel that when the cleaning does take place in September, and hopefully we're not getting an inch of rain every other day like it feels like we have been the past couple of months, the situation's going to improve. We do intend to keep the Jersey barriers up during the winter season, as we did last year, just to prevent any icing or something that might happen in that instance. And then I also wanted to indicate to the board that Mary, since the last meeting, has engaged folks to go out there and do mosquito spraying, also doing trash pickup on a routine basis, as well as having geese police controlling the area to make sure. So again, I think that is our plan of attack. We've implemented all those since the last meeting in June, when I know the board had some concerns about the current situation out there. So, I think with that, we're happy to answer any questions, but appreciate the board's hopefully understanding of the situation back in the spring and why we couldn't get the permit in time to do it. And to that point, actually, I did want to, and Susan, I know you've asked this question before, as to when would the next 2-year cleaning take place. We actually think it may make sense to have it be in September timeframe going forward, so that we don't have this situation where there's a little bit of a delay at the state level in terms of getting that permit, and tends to be a drier time of year as well during September to be able to do it. So if we do it in September of '23, our thought would be that would be the 2-year anniversary to keep doing it. Just seems to make more sense in terms of being a more effective time frame. But
Do you have any comments, any environmental
Okay.
any of our staff? Then I'm sure that you want to.
Yeah, and Mark, thanks, Mr. Vaughn, thanks for that. And I've been out there a couple of times, and I appreciate since the last meeting. It looks a lot cleaner, although I can't say it's clean. It looks a lot cleaner, and I appreciate the efforts around trying to keep the area clean, try to minimize some of our concerns that the board has. I guess I have a couple of things. And this is for the record, and again, I'm not going back and forth on it. The permit for the fish removal, the application was submitted in March 11th. So I think there was a delay in submitting the application, which is the reason why the permit wasn't approved and you couldn't get it cleaned in the springtime like we had agreed to. Again, I don't need you to comment on that. I just want to make that statement for the record. Can you tell me what's going to happen on September 11th? Is that the date, or 4th? What's the date again?
Yeah, I would be wandering beyond my pay grade if I actually try to answer that. So maybe Brian, you want to, or Mary? Yeah.
Yeah. So for the record, my name is Brian Dundon with R.J. O'Connell and Associates. So typically, how the basin cleaning activities will work is that National Water Main has been contracted to do the cleaning. They are the same firm that done the previous 2 cleanings, so we're familiar with their operation. We will have a full-time wetland scientist on site during the cleaning process. So the cleaning process will consist of they will bring in a temporary pump to dewater the existing basin. It will discharge out into Vine Brook, which will eventually outlet out into Great Meadow. The pump will stay active until it drains down to the bottom of the basin. And then they will have a vac truck that will come in, and they will loosen up the sediment that is trapped between the stone and vac that sediment out. Once all of that is done, they will then go into the catch basins on site within the parking, that remote parking area, and we will be cleaning those pipes out as well. Same operation. The vac truck hose will be dropped down into the catch basins or the appropriate drain manholes, and it'll be run up and down the lines and cleaning all the sediment out of them. It'll also be a combination of, some of the runs are a little bit long, over 100 feet, so they will power wash, they will open up the structure, send a jet wash power washer into the manholes and push all the sediment back out to the basin, and then clean any that they couldn't get with the hose at that point of discharge.
Gotcha.
We anticipate, so what will happen is, at the end of the day, we expect this to be a 5-day process from beginning to end. So at the end of each day, what will happen is the pump that's keeping the basin dry right now will be shut down, and it'll be restarted back up again. And at that time, what will happen is the water levels in the basin from groundwater will rise back up, and then on Tuesday morning and on Wednesday morning, the same operation. The pumps, the basin will be drawn down through the pump, and once there's zero water in it, the crew will go back in and complete the cleaning operation. So we are very fortunate that National Water Main has been doing, because they've been through this now. This will be their third exercise, so they have the system down to a science. And at the conclusion of the cleaning period, our wetland scientists will be preparing a final report documenting the cleaning activities, and that is typically filed with Conservation, and I believe the Board of Health gets a copy, and with Natural Heritage. So at the end, there'll be a final report prepared and submitted, both at the state level and at the town level.
Gotcha. Awesome. Just maybe a question or a comment, or maybe it's a rhetorical question, but if the cleaning that we do in September is effective and it works, is the intent to still keep the Jersey barriers there through the winter? Or is there a plan to say, well, geez, it worked, let's move the Jersey? Because, I mean, I think at the end state is to not keep Jersey barriers there, evergreen, so.
I think to some degree, it's a blessing and a curse. There are some vacant spaces that are at the center now, so that area that is required for our requisite parking count isn't necessarily needed on a daily basis today. So I think that we may want to, do we have an official opinion on that as to whether we should keep them in for the upcoming winter, or just to?
My gut tells me they'll need to stay, and the reason for that is, again, based on the weather we're having, the soil is saturated, and once we get into September and October, you know, the weather is not warm, so groundwater levels tend to kind of stabilize a little bit, and I think that we'll just have to monitor to see if the levels recede to the point where it doesn't become a hazard. There may be an opportunity to reduce the area, but I'm thinking that we'll probably need to maintain it during the winter, and it's directly related to correlation back to right now the soil's all saturated, groundwater levels are up.
So with that being said, if you feel like it's not necessarily going to eliminate all of the water out of the parking lot, can we reserve or at least take a look at maybe the proper next cleaning would be in the spring and not, or late spring and not next fall? Because I would hate to say, well, we're going to leave the Jersey barriers there because this might not work, and then we come spring, we have Jersey barriers for at least another year. It just doesn't seem like it makes sense to me. And I guess on the flip side of that, or the continuation of that question, have you thought about what the long-term plan is? And maybe you're not ready to talk about that today, and maybe we should see if it works first before we discuss it, but I think we need to start thinking about, this is not going to work, and we're not going to be able to move Jersey barriers, so what's the long-term plan to fix this?
And I'd like to add on to that. The pictures that were submitted of dry catch basins are very, very old. We haven't seen dry catch basins like these in a long time. and I was by there, and I'm not sure if it's still, but the catch basins were bubbling. I'm sure you've seen it. The catch basins are all bubbling up. And I do have pictures if you'd like to see them. They're not official pictures, but I'm happy to show it to you. There's a lot of water there. And you said something about maintaining. What is maintaining? What is the definition of how you're going to maintain those? Or is that just a word that you're going to use for, hopefully it'll work? You said maintain during the winter.
I think maintaining the Jersey barriers.
Just the Jersey
Yeah, it's the Jersey barriers, yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the long term? I mean, that was my question. I mean, this seems to, do you think this will work? There's a lot of water. Do you think this will work? And I'm asking you as you are the engineer, correct?
I think it's going to be an improvement. It'll make the situation better, but there's going to be these periodic times during the calendar year where, unfortunately, there are going to be some potential water ponding problems in the parking lot. And it's directly related to the seasons. When we're in a wet season, groundwater levels are high. Unfortunately, the two catch basins on our property are at the low end of the elevation, so water seeks its own level, and that's the easiest route for water to be surcharging the drain lines and up into the parking lot. During the summer months, when it's dry, most summers, but except for this one, when the groundwater table lowers, then the water levels will recede back into the system. So.
And I understand. I guess the question is...
I think I know what your question is, if I could jump in. So to answer your question, I think Mark Newman...
I thought that was beyond your pay grade. So I'd like to speak to the engineer.
I suddenly have a PhD in engineering.
I'd like to ask the engineer then.
So Brixmor is evaluating other options that might be available should this not be able to be, resolved. So, Mark Newman, I know, is, part of the development side. They're evaluating, what if this doesn't work? What are the other options that they can do? And the options are somewhat limited, I think, as the board may be aware, right? I mean, we're in a floodplain there, so it's not as simple as necessarily just lifting the parking up, although that is something that, we may want to explore a little bit in terms of methodology and whatnot. But so we aren't just kind of, throwing our efforts away. I mean, we are looking at what the other options might be in terms of a more permanent solution. So.
And I think that's important because it's a nice shopping center, great stores there. We're worried about mosquitoes. We have West Nile virus here. We have at least mosquitoes that are carrying West Nile virus here in town. We've got to keep the mosquito population down, and you could argue then, well, there's a stream there anyway, but still. But the other issue is safety, and I just worry about the winter more than even the summer. Worry about the winter, that it overflows and somebody gets hurt. Someone skids and gets hurt there. I think that at some point I'd like to hear from the engineers, what are the long-term ramifications? It's going to cost you a fortune to capture a whole bunch of fish and pump the place and then clean out every couple of years. That's a lot of money. And it still doesn't remedy the safety aspect. So I'm looking for something long-term. I'm sure you're not happy, and I'm not happy.
No, agreed. And again, as Mark has indicated, is that Brixmor is evaluating long-term options as to how to remedy the situation.
So, okay.
May I speak? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I just can you just hold on? I just have two more comments or questions before you speak.
Sure.
So, one, this fish collection permit expires in December. Can we make sure that we get a permit issued for next year?
Yes.
This year, so it doesn't like the other one looks like it's for 5 years, which is good.
Yeah.
Just in case we need to go back in and clean it out sooner than we expected. that would be great. The other comment, and you certainly can address it, is, I feel like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? This is something we have to live with, and I just don't think that that's the attitude or the direction that we're going to take, and hopefully that you're not taking as well. It is as far as the safety concerns, which is our primary purview over this. It's also an eyesore for the residents, and I do have to say, like, you guys came in. I know you inherited a problem, but you're making money in this community, and we take pride in our community, and we want to make sure that we're not sitting here saying that this is something you have to live with, because we're not. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
No, I don't think we're saying that. I mean, at least I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on our side, but I don't think we're saying that, we're just going to have to live with the problem. We are evaluating long-term solutions and what those might be. And I hope there's also an acknowledgement that, not to get into the past and the hydrologist report, that, I don't think this is necessarily something that we have control over in terms of how it came to be this way, so.
Totally not your fault at all. Like, I'm not blaming Brixmor. They inherited the problem. I get it. It wasn't as severe when you inherited it. It kind of perpetuated, right? But I just want to make sure that we're not going to say, okay, we're done, and leave Jersey barriers there, because Jersey barriers have been there for almost a full year.
Yeah, no, the only reason I'm saying keep them up.
No, I'm fine with it. No, I get it. I totally.
It's just that we don't necessarily need the parking, so maybe under an abundance of caution.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that Jersey barriers are there for a year because of the issue, right? It's been there for a full year, so I don't think that's right either, right? And I think we deserve to do better with it. So, sorry, Mr. Newman, and if you have comments.
Yes, you can hear me. I'm not sure if you can see me. It seems that my camera isn't working. That's maybe a good thing for you. I'm not sure, but let me first of all, I want to address right up front that we are not looking at this as, well, we're not just throwing up our hands and saying this is all that we're going to do. We do want to see the results of the cleaning in September, and we are very hopeful that it's going to reduce the ponding and the flooding that's occurring here and mitigate the problem. But we also know that, as you alluded to, that this is not the kind of thing that we could continually do. It's the way that we see it right now, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and maybe the cleaning will prove to be even more effective, but we see it as a temporary fix. And we're looking at two different permanent fixes. And unfortunately, one of them's just more complicated because it would require a longer term conversation, collaboration with the municipality on the way that the water at the property now drains into Vinebrook Waterway. But we're also looking at another solution that I think one could call permanent, that would only necessarily need to take place on our property. But it's just too soon for me to say anything about it, because I want to research it a little bit further. But we are taking a look at something that we might be able to do to our parking lot to help reduce the ponding, maybe get rid of it altogether, hopefully. And we do want to get those parking spaces back. We don't want to have Jersey barriers up all year round. We're hopeful that we're going to be coming into the municipality soon with a plan for our property to do some other improvements that we think are going to be really great for the center and for the community. And we know that along with that, we're going to have to take a look at how we can address this problem. So we are studying it right now. I'd say that I think in the future, we might be able to make some more concrete recommendations. I think we'd like to have some further conversations with the municipality about this as well. But right now, we really are hopeful that the cleaning that we're proposing to do in September will help mitigate this problem on the short term.
Well, we thank you. We thank you for this. It's kind of funny when we have a rain from people in town saying, you should see the parking lot. And
When I'm on vacation and it's raining, I'm texting in the middle of the night saying, can somebody please send me a picture of the parking lot? It is.
Yeah, well, I get texts from people in the community. Thank you. Is there anything else?
No, do we want to, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask a clarifying
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, please.
Sorry.
You've done the same cleaning before? I'm just confused.
I think it was 2 years ago was the
So
last
we
time.
did this 2 years ago and it helped mitigate it, and now we just went back?
I think it's longer than 2.
Has it been longer?
Okay, it was longer than 2 years.
over
Back
2
in
years.
March?
The last cleaning was about 2 years ago.
Okay,
The
okay.
cleaning before that was 5 years ago. So,
Okay.
so so this is the 2-year. When the last time we were here, we agreed that every 2 years we would
Okay.
maintain. And again, I note that this is the basin cleaning and maintenance is in perpetuity condition that the Conservation Commission issued or imposed on the property when it was developed back in the 80s. So we're fulfilling our obligation under a different board.
Mr. Newman, do you think you'll have more information like later in the fall, like October, if we can come regroup, like October, November, talk about the September clean out and maybe any updates you have on your plans, other plans?
I hope so. On what I'm calling the Brixmore only plan, yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I realize that working with the town is probably going to take a little bit longer. So do you think, Mr. Chair, that we can have them come back?
You could come back, or we could see what happens.
Yeah.
We could just wait.
I was going to maybe suggest perhaps see how it works for a period of time, and then maybe we come back in the spring. I'm not sure, Mark, that you're going to have any type of, in a couple of months, a firm conclusion on what those permanent fixes might be, right? Or
I don't think so. I think we like the time to explore it properly, but
That's what I think we should.
yeah, and I think it does also give us a chance to see, just how the situation is right now, whether maybe it'll be a dry fall and maybe the situation will be a lot more livable for right now. But again, I do agree with you that it is not a permanent solution what we're doing right now.
Well, I will tell you that I don't think we need to schedule coming back, in my opinion. But come November, if there's a lot of water there, I think you need to come up with some type of a solution, because that's when I worry about somebody getting hurt. So I'm willing to, as long as my board agrees.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair as long as they'll come back when we ask them to come back.
Unless we have a problem.
You know where to reach me, so, yeah. Or us, yeah.
And you'll file for the fish capture permit for 2024?
In December.
It's in December, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Thanks, because it expires in December.
yes, yes.
Can I just
Yeah.
want to just get some clarification from the board. So the board had previously voted and agreed with them that it was going to be April cleaning. So now we're going to go to September 2025 for the next cleaning.
No, they're cleaning 2023.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever really landed on that, but,
September.
1 year.
It's every 2 years.
It's every 2 years.
Yeah.
So that would make it September 2025 as opposed to April 2025.
I understand what you're saying, that's not, I don't think that's what they said next September.
No, we were originally on a 2-year cleaning regimen.
In the spring.
Starting, well, it was going to be spring of '23. That didn't happen for the reasons that we talked about, so now it's going to be fall of '23. So our suggestion would be that would be the better time to do it going forward, so we don't get into the same kind of conundrum where the state after the new year, even if we do file for it, so that's the...
So I think you're also asking to move the actual schedule.
to move that.
From spring to the fall.
5 months.
Anniversary would be the
Forward.
spring.
Hopefully, they'll have a permanent solution by then.
Yeah, I think that's,
I'm just not comfortable with this whole thing, to be honest with you. And I think I've been quite vocal about it, but like, we even here, and they can just say, and I'm not saying you are, and
What I'm
just
saying is the date doesn't bother me. What I'm saying is the solution's got to be fixed. You're going to be back here in 6 months if there is water there. There's a little water
I
there.
guarantee you will be sitting here a year from now with Jersey berries in a puddle. I'm just telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Hopefully you'll be able to.
Just telling you, it's not.
So does the board want to vote on the new schedule? Because you voted on the other one, is what I'm saying. So if you're gonna agree to change it, you should vote to agree to change it to September of 2025 as opposed to April of 2025.
They can't do it during the summer anyway because of the spawning.
What if it doesn't work, or what happens if we have a wet spring and they have a huge puddle out there, and so they have to wait a year and a half?
Oh, we could bring them back.
Well, you can bring them back, but they're only obligated per our orders to.
Not if our director says that it's a nuisance again.
Well, no, because the nuisance is continuing. It's not going to be closed out until we know that it works, right?
Okay,
Until
all right.
permanent-
So it's an open case.
It's an open
So
case.
cleaning it every 2 years is the solution. You know, if we've seen it a couple of times and they've done it, and that's the solution, and there's no other issues, then it can be closed out. So the question being though, like, of course you could bring them back if you see a problem, but they're probably not going to be able to schedule it in a short time frame. I mean, they have to line up the contractor to do the work and all that. It's more than just permits, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Right? So, I mean, they have to plan ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm just saying that doesn't take 2 years though either.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you see a problem in, April of 2025, you can't just say, go do the cleaning, because May to...
I'm not worried about-
May to September or something.
May to August 30th.
They can't touch the fish.
No, I get it. I'm not worried about April 2025. I'm worried about April, May, June, July of 2024.
Next year.
So if that's the case...
Because we heard from the engineer that he's not hopeful that the cleaning in September is.
well, I think
gonna
he was saying
eliminate
that, Mr. McSweeney, more to the fact of the season that we just had, the wetness and, record-setting
I get
rain,
it.
right? So, I mean, I think that, I don't think that means that we don't feel that it's going to necessarily, in normal conditions, hopefully it's going to make a significant improvement. So, look, I mean, I think it would probably make sense for us to, continue to have a dialogue if, we could come back in the spring and, discuss further with the board, what other things might be able to be done in addition to the 2-year scheduling of the cleaning. But, we're not looking to walk away from the asset and,
Get open the hearing and...
We're not looking to kick the can down the road here. It's not going to do us any good. We've got a problem. It's a serious problem, and it's a complicated problem, and we're studying it, and it's not an easy situation. We're doing our best to come up with what we think will be a concrete solution that will serve the property long term. Cleaning it continually going forward when you've got rising water levels in the Vinebrook waterway isn't going to work. We understand that. But that's what we have to do right now to mitigate the situation. We would ask that you allow us until the spring to give us a chance to have that work and to, as I was explaining before, we are hopefully going to be presenting some other plans for the property. And I think along with that will be what we hope will be a solution to this issue as well. But we need time to flesh that out before we speak prematurely about it.
What we could do is we could keep an eye on it And we just need to it wouldn't be just that, oh, there's water there, because we have to watch for the heavy rain. So that's something that Christine could monitor, is that, okay, she's looking at the rainfall, how long has the rain been sitting there, how long has the water been sitting there, and are we back to where we were, or close to where we were before? I mean, we could certainly look at it in the spring and continue to look at it throughout the year, next year, and bring them back if Christine feels like there's an issue.
Also, I've spoken with our property management team, and we are committed right now to proactively reaching out to the municipality and communicating on a more regular basis about what we're doing here to, mitigate and maintain this issue. I know that Mary's been reaching out to Susan to provide her with, reports from our maintenance company, as well as, reporting on some of the shorter term solutions that we've been doing, such as the geese police, spraying for mosquitoes, increasing the, visits to the property to clean that area. And we're going to continue to do that and continue to check in with Susan on a periodic basis.
Okay, I guess let's wait till after September.
Let's wait till after September.
What's the date again?
September 11th through the 16th.
16th. Okay, let's see what happens.
Okay. All right, I think we'll just leave it as is then, which means it's April of 2025 anyway now.
Well, yeah, let's wait and see what happens in September.
I suppose what you could do is,
Continue it.
Continuous.
or say, you're gonna let them do the cleaning September 2025.
Can we just continue it for now?
We'll just
and then
continue it.
Just leave it as is.
Okay, where do you want to continue it to?
To the spring of,
Next year?
Next
Yeah.
year.
2024.
2020.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
2024.
April 2024.
So we can see how this works.
Let's see how it goes, and then we can move dates or whatever.
And then maybe have a discussion about different remedies that they've been able to,
Okay.
and to make sure that the permit's filed.
And I guess if you know something sooner than the spring, and we'll figure out the date, is that you'll come back sooner?
Yes.
Right, yeah, okay.
Do we need a motion for that, or do we just let,
Yeah.
do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing for 111 Middlesex Turnpike, nuisance condition, Mass General Law 111, Section 122, until the April something board meeting.
2024.
24 board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I give a second by Mr. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Appreciate your time
Thank you.
Thank you.
and your patience. Thanks.
Okay. Motion to close the hearing on 111 Middlesex Turnpike. Do I have a
I
motion?
so moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Now we need a motion to open the hearing on codification of Board of Health regulations. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Ms. Welch, second by...
Second.
Second by Mr. Maury. All in favor? Aye. Now we can open that. Codification of Board of Health regulations. In discussion with our director, we want to postpone that.
Yeah, so myself and Sarah started working on the document. The codification of regulations is putting all the Board of Health regulations together in one document. It involves changing the citation numbers, and prior to this meeting, I had sent it to Amy, because she's the one that actually requested that we do this. And she had some comments, and a part of her comments was trying to make all of the regulations more consistent with each other. And it's going to require a lot more time, a lot more work to do what she has requested, so it's going to take me some more time. How long? I'm not exactly sure, but I'd like to postpone this and then bring it when we're ready, and have Amy take another look at it. Her comment is, since we're doing this, we want to make sure that we do it correctly and do it right, so we don't have to go back and look at it again. So that's where I'm at right now with it, and I'm hoping, won't be any longer than 2 to 3 months. The reason why I had it at this meeting is because we wanted to get it before the, she requested that we get it before the town meeting, September town meeting, but that's not gonna, we're not gonna be able to do it if we go through the whole regulations that she likes.
I think it's a huge undertaking, so I understand that.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with references.
Yeah.
So like in one regulation, you might refer to the town as the town of Burlington, and another one you might refer to it as Burlington, and so it's...
Is it outdated? Is that why she's asking? What's the reason?
No, it's not, well, it's that they're not put together in one single document, so like the bylaws are, say. So when you pick up the town of Burlington bylaws, it's all one document. When you look at our regulations, it's all piecemeal. So what she wants to do is make the codification makes it one document, so it makes it easier for the public to find what they're looking for, and it's all going to be like in one place, and all the references are going to be the same. And also when we refer to things, she wants like I guess like a directory of references in the document. So for example, under the biosafety regulations, we've basically adopted the BMBL and the NIH guidelines as part of our regulations. So we need to take all of those things and put them in a table and define what those things are and where they can find them. So it's going to be a lot more work than I anticipated.
Does that mean we're going to be postponing in the September meeting the revocation of the hazardous material?
No, we'll still go forward with that.
Still will go forward?
Yeah, I think she just thought it would be a good idea to put it there in case any town meeting members had questions about our regulations. We could say, oh, it's all in this one document.
And when will that document be before us to pass that?
The codification?
No, for the September town meeting, the revocation of the hazardous materials bylaw?
We already put that on.
It's on?
Yeah.
Okay, it's on. And when is the...
September town meeting, I think it's like the 3rd week in September, it's a little bit later. It's a Monday night, I believe. I have it on the calendar. I can let you know.
Okay. And I urge every member of the board to be there that evening to support that. Okay, we have to, I need a motion to continue the hearing on the codification of Board of Health regulations until the time that our staff has completed this monumental effort.
I'll make a motion to postpone the codification of the Board of Health regulations until the staff has enough time to complete.
Good. I have a motion by Ms. Mary Beth Wells, second by Ms. Demore. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, as the state says, I have to close the hearing. Do you have a motion to close the codification? I have a motion by Mr. McSweeney, second by Mary Beth Welch. All in favor?
Aye.
4. We did it. No, we have to do it by roll call, don't we?
I think I don't know if it's, do you have to put a roll call for all here?
I think it's...
To open and close?
Yeah.
I think that's I think it's okay.
If it's...
Somebody.
Okay, all right. As long as you keep me honest on this.
Semantics.
On the semantics. Thank you very much. And if we're wrong, we'll fix it next time. Okay. Brings us to discussion, Cafe Escadrille 26 Cambridge Street, Risk Control Plan. Ms. Johnson?
I'm Michael Murray with Cafe Escadrille. Hector Escobar, the executive chef, Cafe Escadrille.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Representatives from Cafe Escadrille have been requested to appear before the Board of Health to discuss and inform the Board of Health of their risk control plan and how active managerial control will be achieved. No action is required by the Board of Health at this time. according to Board of Health protocol. If in the future, the health inspector determines that this food establishment fails to implement the risk control plan, then a hearing before the Board of Health will be scheduled where the board may vote to suspend the food permit in accordance with 105 CMR 590.014B or revoke or not renew the food permit in accordance with 105 CMR 590.014C. So just a quick summary. Ms. Hardy, when she conducted her routine health inspection, she had found a violation with the mechanical dishwasher located on their main floor, not sanitizing at proper temperature. It was corrected on site. She went back for the next routine inspection about 6 months later, found the same violation. Protocol is we issue a $50 fine, get them to correct it on site, and discuss long-term solutions to make sure it doesn't happen again. When she went back for the next routine inspection, she found the same violation. So what we do is we have the food establishment representatives come in, we do a risk control plan together. So in front of you, you should have the risk control plan. I'm sure you reviewed it. And you can look on page 2. If you like, representatives can explain to you, why it happened and what they're doing now to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Does anybody have any comments? Mr. Meyer, get the dishwasher fixed. I'm ready to move on. That's all I want to,
Yeah, no, we understand that it shouldn't have happened, and going over with staff has helped us to come up with a better plan to mitigate any issue that does come up. The machines do break from time to time. There were separate problems at the different inspections. It's not an excuse, but we have a better plan now, as our dishwasher actually has the ability to be switched to chemical sanitation. We're going to stick with the hot water, but we're testing it daily, and if we don't hit the temps that we need for sanitation, then we can immediately switch to chemical until we can get the problem resolved, in which case we'll always be sanitizing.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, what's the next step?
So what they're doing now is they are providing me with a weekly report of their log sheet showing that they are hitting the 160, this is going to take place until the end of the year, and then, November 1st. But you'll still continue monitoring it on your own.
Yes.
And that way, they're able to recognize if there's a problem. That's what we want them to do, is to recognize if there's a problem and to correct it.
There's no action at all?
No action.
No,
No
just
action?
information for the board.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks
for your
Thanks for
time.
coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to wait this long.
That's okay. We understand.
All right. Staff reports, environmental engineer. Do you have
Hi.
anything?
A couple of things. Household hazardous waste is scheduled for September 23rd at Fox Hill School. And I just wanted to note that the risk level for West Nile virus in Burlington was increased from low to moderate due to a positive pool of mosquitoes that were collected at the beginning of August from one of the sampling locations in Burlington. The Eastern Mosquito Control Project, Eastern Middlesex Mosquito Control Project, just happened to have been spraying the next day after that positive mosquito pool was discovered. And spraying will continue as needed through the end of August. And all the catch basins in town have been treated for larval control. If you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
I don't.
I don't. I've been very busy. Thank you. One other question I have about inspection of non-compliance with Eversource. Can you explain what's going on there?
So Eversource just installed, or not, this year installed a, I guess you could call it a portable transformer at the station on Middlesex Turnpike. And it's in addition to the 2 large stationary transformers. They had some totes of dielectric mineral oil and some drums of the same on the site. They were sent there to charge the portable transformer, and then they were excess and they had not been removed from the site. So after my inspection, I contacted their environmental manager, and he was seeing to it that they get removed from the site, because as they were sitting at the site, they didn't have proper secondary containment.
Okay. And are they okay now?
They're not, he was due to get them out of there this week, so I don't know if they're gone yet, but they should be.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
No other questions on motion to approve the environmental engineers?
I actually have a quick question. It just crossed my mind, I'm sorry, but are we scheduling more mosquito spraying due to the fact that we've upped a level?
So
I know we were just sprayed, so I don't know how that works.
So they rotate the spraying based on what they find for counts and also what they find. So there's the number of mosquitoes, but then there's also positive, if there's positive mosquitoes. So if there's an abundance of mosquitoes caught in a particular area, a set of traps, they'll target the spraying for that area. And then, one positive pool is not a lot. This is not a very active season for West Nile virus.
Okay.
In more active seasons, we've had multiple hits on, on the pools throughout the season.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a rotating thing based on where they're finding the populations. And they have been actively spraying all summer because of, the rains have just brought more mosquitoes.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, sorry.
No. Do I have a motion to approve the environmental engineers?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I have a motion by Ms. Welch, second by Ms. Maury. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next will be the health agent, and I would like to include that, the associate health inspector, that report also. So if we go to the associate health inspector, is there anything that anyone has questions for Ms. Johnson?
I didn't even see the associates, actually.
I know, I missed it.
Just about there was a question about rodent infestation. Had you seen that?
Where was the location?
I didn't see Sam's
The
report
restaurant?
in.
Restaurant or housing?
Is Sam's in your report, or is it?
Under yours?
Next.
Yeah. That's
Oh, okay.
because you used to report that in the nurse. Okay, yep.
Be the next report.
Yeah, we can do that again.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to hold off for hers, 'cause and I have no other questions.
Not for,
Not for the associate health inspector. The health agent, as you know, I count.
That's crazy, right?
Tremendous.
Yeah.
You are so busy. 91 inspections, investigations, meetings, and issues. They're always around 100 for a report. So thank you very much. And thank you for what you're going to start tomorrow again. Tomorrow
I'm
is
having
serve
the
safe
last serve safe, the last.
Having gone to one, it's a lot of work.
It is.
A lot of people. I've already heard from people who are taking it. How many people?
So I wanted to, we wanted to get rid of the last of the books, so we had 15 books, so we have 15 people that signed up.
People are so grateful for you doing that, and thank you. And so that was that, and the only question I had was Stone Cold Creamery.
So Stone Cold Creamery is in compliance.
Yeah.
So we had issued a temporary suspension of the food permit to take place tomorrow if they did not correct the violations, the outstanding violations. So they did. Samantha was out there to verify that they were corrected. They will be coming before the board, I think at the next meeting, in regard to the certified food protection manager violation. student. So they actually have, I think, 5 or 6 people that are enrolled in the class tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So that's a step in the right direction.
Mr. Chair. Yes. I just have 2 questions, Marlene.
Sure.
Or actually, 1 question, two the same. So we had the Treasury and the Chateau with suspended permits for a short period of time, didn't we?
We did,
Yeah.
right.
So in Treasury, I just want to get a follow-up on both of them. I know Treasury came in front of us.
Correct.
Are they back up and running? Do you feel?
They both are, yes.
You feel like they're in good places?
They are, yes.
Is the Treasury still following through with their consultant?
They are, yes. They are.
Okay, all right, then you feel like they're in good shape? both?
They are, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Not, we'll move to a motion to approve the health agents report and the associate health director's report. I'll do first health agents. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then for the associate health director's report, we had no questions.
So moved.
By Ms. Welch, second by Mr. Maury. All in favor? Aye. Associate Director of Public Health, Mr. Green.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ed. I just wanted to highlight, we've been doing a lot of work, a lot of collaborations with Deb Sullivan, with Leahy Hospital and Medical Center, and we've we've got our Matter of Balance class that'll be coming up. That's an 8-week class that we'll be offering at Grandview. Starts in September, runs through October. And we're also starting up a new program called CarFit, where we get mature drivers fitted to their vehicles a little bit better. Because as we age, vision, reflexes, things change. So we have training for that coming up on September 14th. We're trying to get as many of our BVRC volunteers as we can to become technicians. And then September 30th at Leahy, we're going to hold that training, and then we're going to bring that program back to the BVRC and also extend that through with the shared services grant to the Triton Coalition.
Thank you.
That's great.
Question?
What's color training? Refresher. What is that?
Color is our vaccine database, basically. So we've got our flu clinic coming up here in the fall, and one of our the managers of color might not be there with the child on the way, so we wanted to make sure everyone was up to speed on that prior.
Okay. First, I want to thank you for going to and working the Celebrate Burlington table. It was really nice that you were there for first aid, as well as recruitment and retention. It was a great program. Thank you for representing the board.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have any other?
I don't.
Do I have a motion to approve the Associate Director of Public Health?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Welch, second by Mr. Maury. All in favor? Aye. And then the last is Director of Public Health.
Yes. So just a couple of things. One thing I just kind of wanted to remind the board, remind residents, I've been having a lot of calls lately, I guess, with all the rain about beavers. And again, I know I've mentioned this before, that the Board of Health issues 10-day emergency permits for body gripping traps to hunt beavers, either in season or out of season, but only for a public health emergency. So if the beavers are causing a public health emergency, which includes things, and it's very explicit in the law, things like flooding a well, flooding a roadway, flooding a septic system, those types of things, that's a public health emergency, and then we would issue the 10-day emergency permits. But if it's flooding someone's, moving into someone's backyard, unless it's up on the house, that's not a public health emergency, and we wouldn't issue the 10-day emergency permit. So there is a regular hunting season for beavers where you can, and it starts, I believe, in November, where you can use the box traps to hunt beavers. but if you wanted to use the body gripping traps, even during that time, then you would need to get the 10-day emergency permit from the Board of Health. So that's our involvement with Beavers, basically is providing that 10-day emergency permit for a public health emergency situation, and we've done it in the past, and we do it if it comes up, so. Most of the times, it's flooding of roadways.
Right.
Any questions for our director?
Just, can we get I saw the report, just an update on Ledgewood Drive housing.
Yes, so what is going on with that is the owners or the owner's management company has attempted to go out and make the repairs that we required, and the occupant was not allowing access and not allowing them in to do it. They had a set time, the occupant didn't allow them in, so basically they're not allowing access at this time, so there's no further action that can be taken by the Board of Health, or there shouldn't be, because they're not complying with the regulations, because they're not allowing access. So I know that there's, and I'm sure you know too, was discussed that they're, they're in and out of court, trying to settle the issues, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the occupant still call the Board of Health and talk of
No,
what's going on for complaints or anything?
No, so the request from myself to the property management company and the owner was that when they converse or try to set these things up with the occupant, that they do it through email, and that's what they've been doing. So the occupant's been copied on all these emails. I see it going back and forth, but no response to me or to the property manager.
Okay, any other questions? I have none. To have a motion to approve the Director of Public Health report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McSweeney, second by Ms. Welch. All in favor? 4-0. We are at the end. Is there anything else that anyone would like to bring up? Staff? Anything you'd like to bring up? Then do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Ms. Welch, second by Mr. Maury. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. Be well, and remember, sunscreen and insect repellent.
What about moisturizer?
In that order.